your business? Likely not. Dr. Sabrina has many times and is leaving for her 6 week vacation this week. So
Yay.
we're continuing upon our last episode. If you didn't listen to episode 410, go back and listen to it. We're going to continue our discussion of how Dr. Sabrina prepared for her 6 week vacation. And I want to know the practical things because I know what's running through everyone's mind is this sounds crazy. There's no way I can do it. So, Dr. Sabrina, walk us through.
Thank you, Melissa. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through. So I have to say that at this point, what I do to prepare for a 6 week vacation is so minimal. Because, and this is the thing, is I've done multiple vacations in my business over the years, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 9 weeks, whatever. And my rule of thumb when I come back is whatever I have successfully delegated, I don't take back because it communicates to your team member, oh, yes, you handled it. Good for you. Now I'm back. I'll take it back on. You're not competent to continue doing it, even though they handled it beautifully while you were gone. So, whenever you vacation test your business, don't take things back that you competently delegated and that your team members handled competently while you're gone. That makes your preparation for a 4 week vacation or a 6 week vacation incredibly easy. So at this point on our team at Tap the Potential, I have uh, duties that involve being on the podcast. So it's all visibility. So being on our podcast, being interviewed on other people's podcasts. So by the way, if you have a podcast that you listen to that you think I should be on, please email Sabrina at tapthepotential.com and let me know. Our team will work on getting me on that podcast. Um, but being on podcasts, being out there and sharing our message, teaching others, that is my primary responsibility at Tap the Potential. Um, and then also doing our lives. We every weekday now we have lives that go out. So the podcast members of our team are working on securing podcast guesting spots, and those will be booked while I am out. So I come back and I guest on podcasts. That's handled. Um, Training the team on that process, breaking it down of what's involved, what makes a good fit for a podcast interview, for like what podcast should I be on, what's not a good fit. All of that has been communicated, documented, so our team members who work on that understand that process. Um, and they screen the podcast. So, one of the things that I was doing was going back and forth on Voxer with one of our team members right before hitting record to come here, explaining how to screen a podcast and how to simplify that process so it's not taking her hours to do it. That was one piece. Another piece is the process that I go through for creating lives. So another team member, Caitlin, is going to be doing lives in my absence while I'm gone. And she wanted me to walk her through how do you come up with a topic, how do you create the script for the 5 minutes and know what you're going to talk about, and what are you going to share, the teachable content that's going to be important. I just walked her through that process. um, that's it. Like, and so those are the primary areas that I'm responsible for at this point, and those will be handled while I'm out. And when I come back, I will take the lives back from the team members. So I'm going to break my own rule, but I'm not going to take them totally back. Um, the reason I'm taking them back is because I get to express so much of my thought leadership in the lives that I want to continue doing that. That's the same reason why I keep showing up on the podcast, because it's a way for me to keep my saw sharp, like to make sure that I'm on the cutting edge of thought leadership through having these back and forth conversations, and also as a way to continue teaching and educating business owners. So, um, this round of going on a 6 week vacation and what I'm doing to prepare is a little different than previous vacations where I've gone out and we had to look at what's going to be handled. So, one of the things when I first started taking more extended vacation is I was the entire marketing department at Tap the Potential. So I wrote the newsletter, and I created content. One of the things that I used to do when I would be out for an extended period of time, and it was just me, we didn't have coaches on our team, we didn't have Melissa as a lead strategist. I had to figure out, how do I continue to provide value for the coaching clients when I'm out? And so I would create content that we would drip out through Active Campaign to our clients to keep them moving forward on their goals. So I would have to do all of that in advance. And then I would have to create the newsletter that was going to go out. As we brought on team members and started delegating those pieces, one of the things that I quickly realized is how many mistakes I made in the automation because I was overloaded. I was doing too much. And I remember one vacation where I was out for, I think, 3 or 4 weeks. And all of our people who were subscribed for free on our newsletter were getting content. It was great. But the clients weren't, because I forgot to hit one button because I was overloaded trying to do all the things before I left the office. And they didn't get what was, so I felt horrible about that. And for me, that the lesson in all of that was I was trying to juggle that constantly in a day-to-day experience in the business. Those oversights became apparent because I was gone. Those oversights are not apparent when I stay in the business. And so they were still happening. It wasn't that they weren't happening, they were still happening, but because I was able to catch them and put out fires really quick, everything kept humming along. That is a reactive business. That is a business in the survival trap, and it is not sustainable. And we limit our growth in our businesses when we continue to operate in that way. So, the practical steps around getting ready for any unplugged vacation is really looking at, okay, what am I doing that I'm the only one in the business who knows how to do it, and how do I get this so that other team members know how to do it? And that's where you really create a sustainable business, sustainable for you, a sellable business where somebody would actually want to come in and buy that business because they're not buying a job, they're buying an investment at that point. And for your team members, it creates so much stability in job security. We touched on that in the previous episode, so I don't really want to dive too much into that. But the whole thought process is to think through, what is the key result that when I'm doing this function, what am I trying to achieve with this key result? And when you delegate the key result. You don't delegate, here are all the tasks. So if you listened, and I encourage you, if you didn't listen to the episode before this one, go back and listen. But in that episode, Melissa was talking about when she took over the Profit by Design podcast, we had an Asana project for each podcast episode, and there were probably over 60 tasks in it. If I would have said, okay, Melissa, I'm going to be out, and I need you to run the podcast, host the podcast while I'm gone, here are the 60 steps that you have to take to produce each episode. And if you miss one and don't check one off, bad things happen in your world. Like, Melissa would have quit. Like, I'm out of here. I don't want this responsibility. I didn't say any of that. I said, Melissa, here's the key result. You need to bring in content and share things that matter to our ideal clients, that talk about the challenges that you're hearing them talk about in group, and share the solutions on the podcast. And the number of downloaded episodes needs to keep going up. That's the key result. You'll know you're doing good when people are downloading that podcast. And the 60 steps that I use to get there, you can stop doing all of those. If it only takes you 3 steps or 5 steps or however, great. But this is the key result. And so when you came in and you said, I'm not doing those 60 steps, you really started looking at for yourself, what do I need as Melissa to get to this key result? What's going to make the most sense? So, talk a little bit about that process of how you took that and where you took it after that.
Yeah. So one thing that is really important that we do at Top the Potential is everyone on our team is 25 hours a week or less. Okay. What's that saying you have? Limits force.
Limits, force, innovation, and creativity.
Okay. So, yeah, when I looked at the podcast template in Asana, I was like, no way. There's no way that I can do this and keep this within my allotted hours. This isn't going to fit my capacity. So we shared this question on the last episode. What is the 20% of what I do that gets 80% of the results? So there was a handful of tasks that were important, and that's what I focused on. And when you train your team members to think in this way, magic happens because they can simplify everything for you. So at the beginning of this podcast, Dr. Sabrina, because that is my current question that I'm exploring this quarter, I just wrote down 5 things that someone else on our team could do around the podcast to save me about 2 hours a week. How much value is that? Because it can be
Two
someone
hours is a
else,
lot.
yeah, that's not even on the leadership team. So that's saving payroll capacity, and it's freeing me up to think on a higher level for the time that I am spending on the podcast.
So I want to go a little deeper with that, Melissa. Can some of those things that you identified, can they be automated with AI?
Yeah, I believe so. And that's another thing that we're exploring this quarter. You have a mandate
Yes.
with our team. It's a
I,
really big deal.
I issued a mandate a few weeks ago on our team. I've never issued a mandate before. And I felt so like official. The mandate was that to really understand that about 40% of our time as knowledge workers is spent on activities that offer us very little personal satisfaction and that can be competently handled by others or AI. And any place where we can offload something that can be automated with AI, we absolutely must do it because it frees us up to be humans again and provide our value as human beings when we are not doing those rote activities that are repetitive, that yes, they may be important and yes, they may be needed, but they are not creative problem solving or relationship building. And when we are engaging in those activities, that's where we're adding human value. And so, what I love about what Melissa is identifying, she's just identified 2 hours of her week that she can free up by delegating either to someone else on our team or to AI so that she can function at a higher $10,000 an hour value for those 2 hours. And when she's functioning as a leader on our team at $10,000 an hour, and she's looking at how do I use my strengths to make everything else easier or unnecessary for myself or others, everything is getting better at Tap the Potential. We deliver incredible results for our clients. 96% of our clients achieve our promised result of more time for what matters most and more money in your bank account than ever. Our clients are 7xing their time off in less than 10 months' time. They are doubling their profit, and they are experiencing at least a 55% increase in owner's pay. All of that is happening because Melissa has had time to think about how to accomplish those things.
Yes.
So when she says, I'm freeing up 2 more hours, I'm not thinking, oh gosh, what am I going to do to keep Melissa busy so that she earns her paycheck? Nope. I'm thinking, heck yeah, Melissa's going to go fix something else for our clients and make things better. And maybe we are going to achieve those results for our clients now in 8 months' time or 6 months' time because Melissa is going to innovate. She's going to be human and bring her magic into how we serve our clients.
I love this. So, usually as business owners, we think in terms of production. We have to keep our team members producing, they've got to earn their paycheck. So, and also, I'm sure everyone's thinking, well, okay, that sounds great in theory, but I don't have anyone to give it to, or what would I actually give them? So, I want to tell you what I came up with at the beginning of this episode.
Cool.
For some reason, I am still listening to podcasts and approving them. So I'm listening every week to the podcast. I'm watching for it. Okay, this is big. I have to watch for this podcast episode to come in my email inbox on a Monday. I have a time block on Monday. Well, this week, for example, it never came in my inbox.
Mm-hmm.
So Monday, I had it blocked to approve it. It didn't come in the email. I sent off an email to our podcast team, who's lovely. They're amazing. This rarely happens. However, we had a lot of things scheduled this week. We had a 4 hour leadership team call
Yes.
yesterday. And I'm frantically watching my inbox for this podcast episode that I have to approve because I have other things to do. All of the mental capacity it took and the context switching for me to watch for that. The other thing is, why am I doing it anyway? That is not an activity that is best served by me. I'm literally listening to the episode looking for any edits that needs to be made. Someone else on our team could
Mm-hmm.
do that.
I
And I
know
think,
somebody who can do it and does a good job with stuff like that.
well, let's offload it. So, but as business owner, and I think I kept it on my plate because you had it on your plate, so that was just a natural progression of things that were handed off. So it takes one, you giving me the autonomy to be able to trust myself and speak up and make these calls and say, this would be more beneficial because if I free up that time, and then by the way, if someone else makes the prep sheets, if someone else sets up the Google folders,
Mm-hmm.
um, we already have team members that are doing certain pieces, but if I could offload all the pieces and just figure out what we're going to talk about and show up with you, Dr. Sabrina, that is magic. And then
Yes.
I can shift my thinking time into how can I better serve our clients.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how the magic really happens, and that's just really sharing what goes on in our brains in our tap the potential world.
Yeah. And so, like, when we're thinking about delegating listening to the podcast before it goes out, like that final stamp of approval, all Melissa has to do is lay out for whoever on our team is going to take it over. This is what I listen for. These are the things that I've consistently had to give feedback on that it requires more editing, and it goes back to the editing team. These are the things, like, pay attention. Like, we had an issue with, and you got to be careful with AI. This is another place where humans are needed. We had a video from a reel from one of our lives that was produced through AI. And the reel had like a National Enquirer type headline with my
Mhm.
face. And I was like, and a team member caught it because it flashed on the screen for like 2 seconds. But the team member who was responsible for posting our social saw it and said, "Whoa, stop the press. That I need to check and make sure that's okay." And she did. And we decided, no, that is not okay to go out. Um, but that's the sort of thing when you're handing something off around final approval. And I think that's an area where a lot of business owners keep too much responsibilities. We think we are the only one who can give that final stamp of approval that it's okay. Well, if you have clear immutable laws and you have clear parameters around, these are the typical issues that come up that I'm dealing with when I'm doing that final stamp of approval, an entry level team member is capable of doing those things
Yes, and
when
they
you've hired the best. That's the other caveat. Hire the best.
absolutely, they'll probably do it more effectively, and then your leadership team as well should not be doing those activities that someone else on the team can do. Um, so this is just I'm sharing these examples because so often it's hard for us to give up things off of our plate that we either think we're the only ones that can do, or we feel guilty for passing it along to a team member. But realizing that it gives your team members a feeling of confidence and ownership and job stability. They feel like they're a part of the company
Yeah.
rather than just here earning a paycheck. Like I feel like there's a natural progression in my ownership at Tap the Potential because I'm giving that opportunity to grow. So these are all of the things that we're really walking our business owners through in the Tap the Potential solution. So this doesn't happen overnight, but there's so many resources that we have to be able to support you in growing your systems, your operations, your team members, your business, so that you can take a 6 week vacation as well. So, Dr. Sabrina, any last minute gold nuggets you want to share? You're not going to be, you don't have any idea what's going to happen on the podcast for the next 6 weeks.
Oh, yeah, no, I haven't asked anybody. Like, I'm not saying, "Oh, I need to approve these topics." They got it. They know. They're fine. Um, my golden tip, my golden nugget tip is you want to be in our Better Business, Better Life program because Melissa walks our new clients through a time audit and she cuts 10 hours of your week immediately within the first 30 days. So, the value of having an outsider come in and look at your business and look at everything that you're doing, and to be able to say, you can stop this, you can delegate that. I know who on your team can do that for you. And here's, or, oh, this AI, you could get that automated. And there goes 10 hours of your week that you can reclaim to make your life bigger, or to think about, how do I want to add more value for our top clients so we make more profit and have better revenue and better people to work with in the business. That is the golden nugget, is stop trying to figure this out on your own. Recognize that you are spinning your wheels. Get help. And the best way to get help is to book a call at tapthepotential.com. Hit the book a call button. You'll have a conversation with Caitlin. She will walk you through if you're a good fit for us, and you can get started in the Better Business, Better Life program. And then Melissa will be working with you and cutting 10 hours off your week. And you will be one of those amazing 96% achieving our promised result of 7xing your time off, doubling your profit, and a 55% increase in owner's pay in less than 10 months' time. That's the gold nugget.
Wow. All right. Well, Dr. Sabrina, thank you. And I hope that you have an amazing vacation. We will miss you.
Thank you. I will miss you guys. I'll be happy when I come back. Um, but I am really going to enjoy this time off.
All right. Thank you for tuning in to the Profit by Design podcast. We will see you next week.